to Saxthorpe Farms, and it feels like it's been a very long time, if I'm honest. I had to do a little bit of remembering. We're doing a fertilizing contract up in field 35. I had pretty much finished one off at the end of the last video, or I let it finish after the video. I'm not sure, as it's been a while. We're in field 8, and we're going to get some soybeans planted. So doing tram lines because they're fun. There is going to be a bit of a conflict between the tram lines we did when we had the demo seeder and the tram lines we're doing here, because those, I believe, are set at a 24 meter spacing. So if I'd remembered earlier, I could have set this up to do a 24 meter spacing as well, because I guess the plan was that we would adjust the sprayer to be 24 meters. But it only occurred to me as I was going around that last time I was seeding on the first headland, I only did half a row. It'll be fine. I'm not actually expecting to need to spray this field. Having done the tutorial on weeding, I am going to be getting a mechanical weeder. And based on some of the comments, I think I am probably going to weed this field on April 2 and then roll it, and we need to roll the cornfield as well, and then we should get maximum yield. And then if I'm feeling a little bit cheaty, I might come in with the, I don't know if our sprayer has see and spray. If we get to the point where we have a see and spray sprayer, I might come in and boost it up with there being no weeds present. I'm not sure it's actually worth it at this point. I think it's much more worth it if you are running a farm that makes its money off of other things and you want the maximum bonus, you know, say like on Greenlands, where I was running that ridiculous dairy farm that was producing lots of money from milk. You then want the highest environmental bonus possible, and it doesn't matter if you take a hit on yield, say if, you know, however, whatever, whether you see and spray to get rid of the weeds and take a hit on yield, or you do the trick to maximize it once you've mechanically weed it. So yeah, it's kind of cool to be back. I think last time I was talking a lot about future plans for kit and about the getting a 9 series and quad tracks and things like that. So we'll kind of see where that's going to go. I've been talking a lot about upgrading the seeder, but actually having done this field, I'm currently got one field left. I'm not too worried about running a 6 meter seeder, if I'm honest. The field we have left is our biggest field, but I'm just going to hang on and see what crops up in the sales as we go through. If a bigger horse seeder comes up, I'll pick it up. Or if another front unit for this comes up, I might pick it up. But otherwise, I think I'm just going to roll with it. We're not really time pressured. I think we'll have all of the seeding done in April, probably. I might hang on to plant the sorghum in field 10 at the start of May, so that we've got the whole month to seed, weed and roll, because it's a big field. So that might mean on April 3 we head over to the Oaks and do a bit of contracting over there. That might be fun, just to mix another one of those in. At the moment we've got 3 fertilizing contracts left that I'm running. Hopefully more of those will crop up as we go through, but a trip over to the Oaks might not be a bad idea. Right, time for the first tram line. I actually find quite a nice way, or remember quite a nice way of doing tram lines later on. Don't use this, because obviously you only use it when you're seeding. I tend to forget some of the subtleties with this mod, but we're going to drop down and get our tram line into the field. I think it's one that Carltex talked about when he's been using it in the past, is switching the seeder off but leaving it dropped in planted crop, so you create the tram line still without destroying anything else. You'll see me doing that later for making the main tram lines and tying them in to the headland tram line. So yeah, it seemed to work quite well. If you follow, I guess, my Discord or the Maze Plus Discord or Alien Pool on Facebook or the Farming Agency on Facebook, you might have seen Paul posted about soil compaction is coming with TerraLife, and that's going to be so cool. We had a team chat about it last night and it just looks amazing. So hopefully when we start doing the TerraLife beta testing streams, we'll be able to demo it as part of that. Going to be so cool. I never used, I know in 19 we had the controlled traffic farming as something that I never used because I just looked at it and thought, why would I ever want to do that? But I think it's just going to completely change how you think about getting around fields and things. And yeah, it's going to mess with my head for a bit, but I think it's going to be fun. As an occasional watcher of Joe Seals, he talks about this would have been a good spot to turn off and link the tram lines up, but I hadn't remembered at that point. Joe Seals talks about it a lot in the stuff that they do at this time of year where they're out collecting straw, and they've got very heavy loaded straw trailers and not wanting to introduce compaction into other farmers' fields. And $9,000 for that contract, because a lot of the fields that they work in on baling and collecting straw are not their own, I don't think. So yeah, it's just a bit of added things to think about, and there are going to be days when I hate it because, you know, I don't feel like thinking about it. You know, like if this was one of my fields, I wouldn't want to do that. I'd want to drive down a tram line and then come off the field. Yeah, it's going to make me think a lot more. So where we are on the map doesn't have any auto drive network yet. I really need to add in auto drives or network, but I'm kind of enjoying building my own as I go. So we're going to drop a two-way track out to field 35. We're not far from the cow farm where I do have auto drive set up, and then I'm going to try and automate getting the tractor back to the farm to refill with fur, and then up to field 25 to activate courseplay. I just love trying to do this. When it works, it's so good. You know, I'm busy doing another job anyway, so this is a really nice way of, it brings a bit of life to the map, I think, and that's what I like about it. It's you know, I generally play with traffic turned off because of the way traffic works in FS. I really don't like it. It's so dumb. You know, it feels like there's very little collision detection, and yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the worker menu. We're going to create a job. We're going to drop our target and field positions in field 25, somewhere sensible. So then going to open the course generator, hit generate course. It's all set up for doing previous fields. So we can now close all of that. Just checking field 25 entrance. So the mode is set right as well because we've been doing this before. So we can close that. We're going to select field 25 entrance. It's set up for everything else. So we are going to click to enable course play and hit go. And then just check that it's heading down to fertilizer, which is the fertilizer fill point in the yard. And we can just leave this now, and it should drive down to the yard, refill, drive back up to the field, run the course play course, and then tell me it's done. Super cool. Super cool. I wonder, so my next thought is, I know auto drive in FS19 used to have the park function, which I never played with, and I'm kind of wondering if that might be the next step in this, is whether I can get it to drive back to the yard. Now, you don't necessarily always want it to do that. You know, we're actually running a whole bunch of contracts here, but it might be fun. Might be fun. It's not, parking is not something that I played with at all in FS19. As I said, I only remember watching one of Scroff's tutorials on it, and he did set up parking for, I think he set it up for vehicles, Yeah, that could be fun. What I'm thinking is we set the park point to be the entrance to the yard, so that when tractors finish a job, they drive back to the yard. Maybe. I don't even know if the functionality is in the FS22 version of Auto Drive, but I'm sure someone who's watching does. So yeah, that should be cool. This is going to be one of the last videos for about a week, maybe a little bit more. I am on holiday from today, as in when I'm recording this today. And I'm probably not going to upload much, if any, content during the week off that I've got. So yep, hopefully got a multiplayer video with Kartek tomorrow. Due to be recording that with him in a few hours, so hopefully that works out. And I really want to try and sneak in another Timberborn video. I know they're not for everyone, but I really love playing that game. So yeah, if you don't like it, just ignore them. You know? There's so much stuff that YouTube throws up in your feed to that I personally ignore. You know, you randomly subscribe to a channel and then forget, and suddenly they upload 15 videos in a row, and that's all you see. That tends to be, there's a couple of there's a channel that I follow that goes to concerts and records live music and then uploads it. I don't think they monetize, but they do really good quality videos. But sometimes they go to a band that I don't like, and you know, there'll be like 5 or 10 videos that they've uploaded, but because I watch some of them, YouTube serves them all up, and you just scroll past. Yeah, it's been it seems to have been a really quiet week for mods. There's been some really good ones, I guess. There goes our other tractor with the Fert spreader. That's why I love using Auto Drive. As we get more kit, that might become more frequent as well. And for some reason, the seeder turned itself off again. It did this last time. And this is the point where I realized I could turn the seeder off and still create tram lines. So, yep, we'll be doing that in the future. Yeah, so there was the Frontier map, obviously, which has a bunch of people super excited. Not looked at it, don't particularly care. Not my cup of tea. I'm trying to think what else has come out that did interest me. I'm sure there were a few. But it feels like mod release is really stuttering at the moment. I guess it's summertime. So it's entirely possible that Giants are just taking holiday. You know, they're real people. And if their testers are on holiday, less stuff gets testing. So, actually, wow. We've had a very early update to, or release of mods, because it's only 10 AM and updates have released. And there's an update to crop rotation, which we're using on here. So what's the change log? So they fixed a multiplayer issue, doesn't affect me, and warning crop history will be lost after upgrade. So I don't think we'll be doing that. Something always to bear in mind. Just checking the sales, because it's always worth checking the sales. Mainly to see what tractors were in there, but there is a couple of windrowers from the hay and forage pack. There's a weeder. I did say about weeding. So that's possible. That's a pretty good standard weeder. But I really want to have a look. I haven't enabled the Horseback on here yet. I do want to do that, see what's in there. I might buy one full price just to stick with that. Power Tools has had an update. Useful mod. And dynamic field prices, another one that I've never really used. So we're just running down to field 42 to set up a little bit of an auto drive loop into there, and then we're going to try and fertilize that. This field is small, and I was unable to fertilize a tiny bit, which meant I couldn't actually finish this contract. You'll see me come back to this in a bit. Actually, there was a really nice forage wagon that released the Zelon. It's a Stroutman Zelon. I really like the look of that. It's the modular bunker silo set by Castor. I really need to look at that. looks quite interesting. I'm literally just scrolling through the mod list to see what's come out recently. Kinda like the Holder ED, the little tiny tractor, and also the Fiat X66. I thought that looked really nice. That's something that might appear at some point somewhere. 4D Modding's New Holland Baler released. I've got to admit, I was expecting a lot of questions for support on that on the Maze Plus Discord as to, does it work, doesn't it work, all that kind of stuff. All the fun stuff that we normally get. I think that's most of this week. Yeah, Headland Management had an update. Glowin's mod. What did he update? A whole bunch of stuff. I really need to revisit that mod. That might be a nice one to have on here, actually. Yeah. I never, it feels like there's good views to be had in doing mod reviews and stuff, but I'm never fast enough to 10 grand on that contract, so a couple of grand left on contracts. I'm never fast enough to get videos out normally to make it worthwhile, I think. I think with mod reviews you've got to be on the day or the day after, and I'm generally not like that, so yeah. Still pondering that weeder, as you can see. No Deutz tractors this time for sale, which is probably a good thing. So yeah, you can see there's this little bit of the field here. Will not take for, and it's just enough to stop the contract finishing. I'm guessing we must have been on like 99.5% or something, and I tried a few times and I just could not get it to take. It was quite frustrating. Anyway, what I ended up doing, and I think I show it later on, I'm not certain, is I cancelled the contract, and because I'd done so much of it, I gave myself the money. We'd used the fertilizer, so there's every chance that this will crop back up as another contract. If it does, I'm not going to take it. So what I might do, no, I don't want to do that. I was going to say I might F12 the third state up, but I don't think I'm going to do that because it will mean messing with the crops and things. So we won't do that. We'll just accept it. There's I'm kind of thinking that we might end up with a harvest contract on there. So we're building up a nice discount with these two fields are owned by the same farmer, and we're building up a nice little discount with him. So I might go in and give myself the discount that I would have got as well. I just decided to try and avoid the same thing happening, that I would run this field myself. It's a similar size field, and I just didn't want to end up there. So we'll see. So just checking an email that had just arrived. So it's really, although the soil's not great, it's really tempting to buy these two little fields. They really suit the size of kit that we've got. It's almost like the completionist in me that I can tick off owning some fields really quickly for not a lot of money, but the soil quality is not great, and I think we should hang on and, like I said, try and pick up a nice bigger field closer to harvest. And if we can get a day on the oaks, that's really going to help with that. I'm hoping that in April on the oaks there are a lot of fertilizing contracts. We'll take both spreaders over the 2.7 series and just go to work. So that's that contract done. Go. We've got a nice 15, so we should have a 20% discount with him now, but we don't. So yeah, I cancelled the contract and manually gave myself the money. I guess my one pondering is whether we should also take over another tractor with a trailer. Probably what I'll do is I'll just run back to the store. I might Don't think the map has a fertilizer and lime buying station, but I think maybe they should. The alternative is just buy a load of bags and fill up. If we leave full, where we can fill up from the farm, leave full, drive down there. Not going to bother with the low loaders. We'll just drive the 2 tractors down there and spend a day doing work and see how much money we can make with 2 tractors running for contracts. We do need to, before we do that, we need to weed this field and roll this field and the cornfield that we've planted, but kind of thinking ahead. So I did some taking the week off, but I can guarantee I'm going to be playing a whole bunch of farm sim, so probably will have what I'm hoping is I can get a nice library of videos pre-recorded to then stay ahead once I get back into things. Ever since I've had the problem with migraines and stuff, so you can see here, I turn the seeder off, keep going into the tram lines and then lift up, and it kind of joins it all together. With all the recent problems with migraines, I've just not been getting ahead on anything, so just lots of headaches. I know, I'm so funny sometimes. I know it went down really well. When I included the dad joke in the video a little while ago, and I've been so tempted to put more in, but I do love me a dad joke as a dad, and I follow so many of them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. I kind of end up forgetting when it comes around to doing things. Yeah, I think we should say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members at this point. I still have not sorted out a notepad. I'm so bad. But I have a handy piece of cardboard in front of me, which is part of a medication box, which has some other notes on it, which I am using. So. Yeah, almost done now. It didn't actually take too long to get this done. This is what has made me think that we're okay with the 6-meter seeder and planter. As we expand, we might not be, but for now, I think good. And it's going to be a while before we're back to harvest or to planting once we've done field 10, because most of the crops that we've got are spring planting. So it's going to be about a year in game before we're doing it again, and that generally takes me a few months. So a lot may have changed by then. Kind of probably by the time we are planting again, I lifted the seeder too soon, so I'm just trying to sort out finishing this tram line. By the time we are planting again, the premium edition should be out, so we should have the barking dogs. That is apparently the window cleaner arriving, so that means lots of barking incoming, so that's not too bad because I only have a minute to go, so we should be okay. Last 2 rows, and actually it's worked out really well. If I don't think we're going to need to spray this field, if I'm honest, but if we do, coverage should be pretty good. Sticking to the tram lines, there might be a tiny gap. But we don't need to fertilise. I'm going to weed, so we shouldn't need to come in with herbicide. If I do come in with herbicide, then it will just be a little bit to get the bonus. And I'm going to say thanks for watching, because the dogs are barking stupid amounts. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button. Any comments, questions or suggestions, stick them below, and I will see you next time.